Okay, so along with the Course in Miracles meditations, there is a book um, of readings. I haven't read the whole thing. I tend to I read like the first part of it, and then I just sometimes open to things. And this just opened to me, and I am getting a pull to share it. I think it relates to the meditations that we've been doing lately in the past couple of weeks, maybe particularly to today. So this is called The Real Alternative, and it's page 653 in A Course in Miracles. And I have the A Course in Miracles text, workbook for students, manual for teachers. So I believe this is the text. And this is called The Real Alternative. There is a tendency to think the world can offer consolation and escape from problems that its purpose is to keep. Why should this be? Because it is a place where choice among illusions seems to be the only choice. And you are in control of outcomes of your choosing. Thus you think, within the narrow band from birth to death, a little time is given you to use for yours alone. A time when everyone conflicts with you, but you can choose which road will lead you out of conflict and away from difficulties that concern you not. Yet they are your concern. How then can you escape from them by leaving them behind? What must go with you? You will take with you whatever road you choose to walk along. That reminds me of the book, Wherever You Go, There You Are. The meditation book. I can't remember the author right now. Real choice is no illusion, but the world has none to offer. All its roads but lead to disappointment, nothingness, and death. There is no choice in its alternatives. Seek not escape from problems here. The world was made that problems could not be escaped. Be not deceived by all the different names its roads are given. They have but one end. And each is but the means to gain that end, for it is here that all its roads will lead. However differently they seem to start, however differently they seem to go, their end is certain, for there is no choice among them. All of them will lead to death. On some you travel gaily for a while before the bleakness enters, and on some the thorns are felt at once. The choice is not what will the ending be, but when it comes. There is no choice where every end is sure. Perhaps you would prefer to try them all before you really learn they are but one. The roads this world can offer seem to be quite large in number, but the time must come when everyone begins to see how like they are to one another. Men have died on seeing this because they saw no way except the pathways offered by the world. And learning, they led nowhere, lost their hope, and yet this was the time they could have learned their greatest lesson. All must reach this point and go beyond it. It is true indeed there is no choice at all within the world, but this is not the lesson in itself. The lesson has a purpose, and in this you come to understand what it is for. Why would you seek to try another road, another person, or another place when you have learned the way the lesson starts, but do not yet perceive what it is for? Its purpose is the answer to the search that all must undertake, who still believe there is another answer to be found. Learn now without despair there is no hope of answer in the world. But do not judge the lesson that is but begun with this. Seek not another signpost in the world that seems to point to still another road. No longer look for hope where there is none. Make fast your learning now and understand you, but waste time unless you go beyond what you have learned to what is yet to learn. For from this lowest point will learning lead to heights of happiness in which you see the purpose of the lesson shining clear and perfectly within your learning grasp. I'm just going to give my own side note here. I came to a point a few years ago, 2 years ago, about where I just couldn't do work. I couldn't do my work anymore. I was just really struggling and lost. really feeling this lesson, I think, where there, like, none of the roads that I was traveling were getting me where I wanted to go. And I just didn't know what to do. And I just went out in nature with my dog, and I just connected to nature, and I felt God there with me, talking to me. And God has led me on this journey, and I'm still on it. I'm still trying to figure out how to be happy, how to be, I've found peace, but I'm still looking for happiness. I found a lot of happiness. But it's really now like how to make a living, how to live and make a living in this world without like working so hard that it hurts your body, basically. So I'm on this journey with you. I'm going to go back to the reading. Who would be willing to be turned away from all the roadways of the world unless he understood their real futility? Is it not needful that he should begin with this to seek another way instead? For while he sees a choice where there is none, what power of decision can he use? The great release of power must begin with learning where it really has a use. And what decision has power if it be applied in situations without choice? The learning that the world can offer but one choice, no matter what its form may be, is the beginning of acceptance that there is a real alternative instead. To fight against this step is to defeat your purpose here. You did not come to learn to find a road the world does not contain. The search for different pathways in the world is but the search for different forms of truth, and this would keep the truth from being reached. Think not that happiness is ever found by following a road away from it. This makes no sense and cannot be the way. To you who seem to find this course to be too difficult to learn, let me repeat that to achieve a goal, you must proceed in its direction, not away from it. And every road that leads to the other way will not advance the purpose to be found. If this be difficult to understand, then is this course impossible to learn, but only then, for otherwise it is a simple teaching in the obvious. There is a choice that you have power to make when you have seen the real alternatives. Until that point is reached, you have no choice, and you can but decide how you would choose the better to deceive yourself again. This course attempts to teach no more than that the power of decision cannot lie in choosing different forms of what is still the same illusion and the same mistake. All choices in the world depend on this. You choose between your brother and yourself, and you will gain as much as he will lose, and what you lose is what is given him. How utterly opposed to truth is this, when all the lesson's purpose is to teach that what your brother loses, you have lost, and what he gains is what is given you. He has not left his thoughts, but you forgot his presence and remembered not his love. No pathway in the world can lead to him, nor any worldly goal be one with his. What road in all the world will lead within, when every road was made to separate the journey from the purpose? It must have, unless it be but futile wandering. All roads that lead away from what you are will lead you to confusion and despair. Yet has he never left his thoughts to die without their source forever in themselves. He has not left his thoughts. He could no more depart from them than they could keep him out. In unity with him do they abide, and in their oneness both are kept complete. There is no road that leads away from him. A journey from yourself does not exist. How foolish and insane is it to think that there could be a road with such an aim? Where could it go? And how could you be made to travel on it, walking there without your own reality at one with you? Forgive yourself your madness, and forget all senseless journeys and all goalless aims. They have no meaning. You cannot escape from what you are, for God is merciful and did not let his Son abandon him. For what he is, be thankful, for in that is your escape from madness and from death. Nowhere but where he is can you be found. There is no path that does not lead to him. And the lesson that I did today was there is no will but God's. I am going to read this because I think it's very related. The idea for today can be regarded as the central thought toward which all our exercises are directed. God's is the only will. When you have recognized this, you have recognized that your will is His. The belief that conflict is possible has gone. Peace has replaced the strange idea that you are torn by conflicting goals. As an expression of the will of God, you have no goal but His. There is great peace in today's idea, and the exercises for today are directed towards finding it. The idea itself is wholly true. Therefore, it cannot give rise to illusions. Without illusions, conflict is impossible. Let us try to recognize this today and experience the peace this recognition brings. Begin the longer practice periods by repeating these thoughts several times slowly and with firm determination to understand what they mean and to hold them in mind. There is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. Then spend several minutes in adding some related thoughts such as, I am at peace. Nothing can disturb me. My will is God's. My will and God's are one. God wills peace for His Son. During this introductory phase, be sure to deal quickly with any conflict that may cross your mind. Tell yourself immediately, there is no will but God's. These conflict thoughts are meaningless. If there is one conflict area that seems particularly difficult to resolve, single it out for special consideration. Think about it briefly, but very specifically. Identify the particular person or persons and the situation or situations involved, and tell yourself, there is no will but God's. I share it with Him. My conflicts about blank cannot be real. After you have cleared your mind in this way, close your eyes and try to experience the peace to which your reality entitles you. Sink into it and feel it closing around you. There may be some temptation to mistake these attempts for withdrawal, but the difference is easily detected. If you are succeeding, you will feel a deep sense of joy and an increased alertness rather than a feeling of drowsiness and enervation. Joy characterizes peace. By this experience will you recognize that you have reached it. If you feel yourself slipping off into withdrawal, quickly repeat the idea for today and try again. Do this as often as necessary. There is definite gain in refusing to allow retreat into withdrawal, even if you do not experience the peace you seek. In the shorter periods which should be undertaken at regular and predetermined intervals today, say to yourself, there is no will but God's. I seek His peace today. Then try to find what you are seeking. A minute or two every half an hour, with eyes closed if possible, would be well spent on this today. And I just want to share my experience of learning this lesson today. Because today I set aside for doing my billing for my private practice. And when I went, I didn't really want to do my billing. And so this is where my will and the will of God. And I'm learning how to move into that. There is no will but God's. I share it with Him. So my conflicts about doing my billing when I don't want to cannot be real. So what ended up happening was I can't get into the billing system because my password's not working, and then they tried the reset and just nothing was working. So everything went wrong with that. But if I am really learning my lesson, my will is God's, I didn't want to do my billing right now anyway. And that's not to say that I don't have to do my billing, because I do need to do my billing in order to get paid, right? But right now that isn't the priority, and I wasn't feeling that it was the priority. I'm listening, and I'm saying, okay, that's not working. And why is that not working? Because that's not what I'm feeling. That is not what I'm feeling that I am supposed to be doing right now. So I'm going to go back to the lesson that I did today, that I did online today, which is lesson number 71, because there's some really good questions there that I think could help. And they are, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? And so that's what I'm doing right now, because I'm finding that the goals of the world, when we go back and we try to use that road to the world and all those roads, they aren't working anymore. I think that's pretty clear in every area. I think we can see that all over the place. So let's find this road back to ourselves, back to God, back to our highest self, that which is love, that which is connected to everything, that which is joy, that which is peace. Let's find that. So there is no will but God's will. What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? It's your highest self, if that's what you want to think of it as. And it has what is in the best interest of all of us as one.